Welcome back to the All Four Downs podcast. I'm your host, Ovi1, and today we're breaking down week 8 of the gridiron, diving into the big coaching shakeup and comparing a couple of polls against my top 10 and ending the show with my week 9 predictions. So let's get started, shall we, as we move on to first down and a week 8 recap of the top games. And what can I say here? Ole Miss versus Georgia was actually a heavyweight match, man. And I tell you what, maybe if the game were included maybe four more quarters, you will see it that each team will take a lead and it just go a seesaw back and forth. But at the end, Georgia closed it out in the fourth quarter, shutting out Ole Miss and scoring 17 unanswered points to win 43 to 35. Also, Notre Dame handled business against USC, another ranked game, right? Notre Dame over USC 34 to 24. Also, Alabama handling business against Tennessee 37 to 20. LSU, oh boy, going downtown as Vanderbilt handles their business, defeating LSU 31 to 24. And also, BYU sneaks by and defeats Utah 24 to 21. Overall, the biggest story this weekend was all about SEC football. Look, you got Georgia and Ole Miss, Notre Dame. Not that. Alabama and Tennessee, and LSU versus Vanderbilt. I mean, six schools in the top 25 going at it. And of course, there always got to be a winner and there's got to be a loser. But but which team really suffered the most? I just got to say LSU suffered the most because there were high expectations of LSU leading the way to win the SEC. And according to ESPN, that they were possibly going to be the next national champions. And look what that turned out. Does that mean that Brian Kelly is going to be in the hot seat? Well, all these teams, the only team looking solid after last year's was Alabama. Alabama 6-1, 4-0 in the SEC, looking very, very sharp. you got to dig it. Let's go ahead and move on to the next because other set of games that was also great important. It was Arizona State upsetting Texas Tech 26-22, a team where, again, Texas Tech was supposed to be leading the way in the Big 12, and yet they fall down. Still got a chance, but Arizona State right now is on a winning streak and handling business. Minnesota upsets Nebraska 24-6 in the Big 10. Miami goes down on Friday night against Louisville 24-21, which is one of my picks that I did choose Louisville on the spread. Look, Carson Beck throwing 4 interceptions. That is very, very uncalled for. Miami was not ready to play. Another number 2 team going down. As we saw Penn State going down, now we got Miami. Is it the team that is ranked number 2 is a jinx to this year's college football? What else? Memphis and UAB. Memphis goes down. UAB takes charge 31-24. Another upset. 4 upsets. And I do think that even the bigger upset, again, what I have displayed is LSU unable to capitalize and remain in the top 10. All right, let's move on to second down because with all these upsets and everything leads to this. Billy Napier was fired this past week as the Florida Gators head coach. And look, he had his run. We knew that time was coming. Look, when you are the Florida Gators and the SEC, you are expected to be competitive with Georgia. And it has been unsuccessful. Florida finished 6-7 in its first year, Napier's first year. Okay. A little bit worse the following year. But the thing is that they never put themselves in a situation to be playoff contenders. And that's a problem. And maybe it is a problem for a lot of coaches because once they take over a school, it's like you're developing something awesome. Look what he did with Louisiana. Starting off 7-7, and then all of a sudden it's just double-digit wins. 3 straight years. And in his last year with Louisiana, he finished 8-0 in his conference, in the Sun Belt Conference. That is outstanding. And Napier had that team competitive, but to leave for more money in a bigger school and had nothing to show for. Just saying that maybe sometimes coaches need to be and stay where they at and develop and become a legend. I would say so, but I guess in this day and age, it's all about money, and they go after it, just like the players are going after it. But hey, real quick, all of a sudden, all these possible coaches, they've been name dropping. And the number one on the list to name drop is Lane Kiffin. Why is it that every time a coach gets fired, Lane Kiffin's name is always on the list? Listen, Lane Kiffin's doing awesome at Ole Miss. All right. And I highly doubt that Lane Kiffin is going to leave Ole Miss to go to Florida. He may look like a Florida man. He may dress up like he's from Florida or whatever. But man, he got it good in Ole Miss. And yeah, he suffered a loss against Georgia, but they are still in playoff contentions. Elijah Drinkwitz, head coach of Missouri, having a phenomenal year with Missouri. He's developed that school to be competitive. Come on now. Rhett Lashley from MSU might be a possible. Jed Fish from the Washington Commanders in the NFL. He could be a possibility. But then you also name drop Marcus Freeman from Notre Dame. Why would Marcus Freeman leave Notre Dame? It makes no sense. We should learn from Brian Kelly, right? Leaving Notre Dame to go to LSU. He's on a hot seat. Marcus Freeman is fine where he's at, and the people love him there. Okay. But if it was anyone that's ready to take over Florida, why not Cliff Kingsbury? This guy's phenomenal. I think it'll be best fitted for him with his offensive guru and able to develop quarterbacks. Cliff Kingsbury was the head coach of the Texas Tech for 6 seasons. His record may not look good, but he's able to develop quarterbacks. I'm just saying, I think he's going to be awesome. He is a former Arizona Cardinal head coach from 2019 to 2022. I think we got a winner there if that is a possibility. If not, then why not some of these guys that I'm about to mention? Garrett Riley from offensive coordinator from Clemson. He won the Broyles Award in 2022. Bob Chesney. He's the head coach of James Madison. His resume is always championship mode. Bronco Mendenhall. He's the head coach of Utah State. Coach of the year back in 2006. Or what about Bob Stoops? I know, mostly all Oklahoma, but he is a former defensive coordinator from the University of Florida. He's the former head coach of the Sooners, and he also was coaching in the XFL for the Dallas Renegades. This guy, no matter where he steps in, always changes the culture and the climate of the school. I don't know. What's your pick? Who do you think is going to be the next head coach of the University of Florida? And on top of that, let's move on because there's James Franklin. And he did an awesome job in Penn State. And he was the head coach in the SEC. He was a former head coach of Vanderbilt for 3 seasons. And it was able to put Vanderbilt on the map being ranked. Yeah, he might have finished 9-4 on both seasons, but he was still in the top 25. I believe that he is the hottest head coach right now to get picked up. And you probably don't have to pay him that much because he's already earning $50 million just to get fired from Penn State. So imagine that. All right. Urban Myers was the last head coach to ever do anything to win a national championship for the University of Florida. And you can see the picture there with his favorite quarterback. All right. Urban Meyer won the national championship from 2006 and 2008. And yet, We had one, two, three, four, five, six, seven coaches that were not able to deliver. The one that came close was Dan Mullen, but for some odd reason, at the end of every season, he always found a way or his team to choke. All right, and then times that were getting dysfunctional. But look, Billy Napier, 22-23, not a good record. Dan Mullen, 34-15, awesome. McElwain, 22-12. Manchup did all right. He was above 500, but no one's come close to what Urban Meyer has done in the 5 seasons he was with Florida. So let's see who could become the next head coach. Coaches in the hot seat. I'm telling you right now, Brian Kelly is. I mean, I don't think that they could go on after 4 seasons and Brian Kelly cannot deliver. All right. You need a strong coach to be there on top of those guys. Okay. And it doesn't seem that way. And you have many that returned, and yet you still get the same product. Just saying. It's almost similarity to Penn State. So I do believe that maybe Brian Kelly's time at LSU might be over. But there's Josh Hoople. Man, look at that guy. With the cigar. I don't know if you paid attention to the weekend on college football, but when they came out losing, man, people came out with cigars. I'm telling you, Alabama was ready, but it just seems like Tennessee don't have it. Hopel does not have it. He's not going to be able to handle Georgia, right? And once Florida turns things around, Tennessee is going to be looking like a third best team over there, or maybe lesser than that. And on top of that, maybe he got sort of a good resume. He's 9-10 against top 25. Can't say the same for Brian Kelly. He is 5-10 overall. Also, Shane Beamer. I don't know. It hasn't been mentioned that he's in a hot seat, but look, he is 5-15 in the top 25. And there's rumors that he may be leaving South Carolina to go over there to maybe to Virginia Tech. Follow his father's footsteps, maybe. I don't know. And then there's Jeff Lebby in Mississippi State. Now you're talking about someone in a hot seat, or maybe that organization probably don't care. But Mississippi State, 2-10 in Lebby's first season, understandable. 4-3 right now, but they're 0-3. They haven't won an SEC game yet. And Jeff Lebby's 1-8 overall in the top 25. That's a big problem. Elsewhere, Hugh Freeze, 3 seasons. He's only 1-12 in the top 25 with Auburn. Mark Stoops, he's been there since 2013. He's 13-31 versus the top 25. And he's looking very, very terrible right now because that team is 0-3 in SEC play. But look at Kirby Smart, University of Georgia. Now look at his record in the top 25. 35-17. That's like a switch right there. Has 2 national championships. He's 6-1, 4-1 right now. And it's all about consistency. And he's been coaching for Georgia since 2016. Enough said there. Enough said. Let's move on to third down. Let's compare my top rankings real quick. I do agree Ohio State should remain at number 1, but I'm a little bit suspect right now because if you look at their schedule, is it worthy enough? Then again, they are beating their opponents up, so maybe so. Alabama, to me, should be a number 2 team. I think they're next. I think by putting Indiana at 2 and giving them first place votes is overrated. Let's knock it off because we saw what happened in the playoffs with Indiana. Once they started playing good teams, they fell and they got rocked hard. Indiana did not just pull the switch year after year. It's not going to happen. Okay? Give Indiana time to build. Georgia, as of right now, number 3, but I am a little bit suspect with the injuries that they have and everything else, but I think they do deserve being number 3, especially their schedule. Very difficult. I have Indiana at 4. Hey, and then Texas A&M at number 5. But the AP and coaches poll have Texas A&M at 3. I do believe they are overrated. because the last thing I checked, they couldn't handle Texas Longhorns. Could they do it this year? Yes, I understand they're undefeated, but there's still plenty of season. I do got Notre Dame at number 6. I take into consideration that they played 3 top 25 teams and they finally got a victory. Yes, it was against USC, but still, they remain consistent. They deserve to be in the top 10. Oregon, number 7, close enough. Can't rock that. BYU in number 8. The coaches poll has them at number 10. AP poll does not recognize BYU in the top 10. I have Georgia Tech. I think they're well deserved. And then I got Texas. Yes, I do believe that Texas found their groove, and I can't wait till Texas and Texas A&M clash each other. Oh, it's gonna be so wonderful. All right, moving on. Look, Miami at number 9 on both AP and coaches poll. I think that's no. I'm sorry. Being in the ACC and the way that Miami lost, they looked. They didn't look like a top 10 team. I'm sorry. No way. Nuh-uh. Vanderbilt at number 10 for the AP poll. I would like to slow down. Please slow down for a second. Just saying. If we're trying to do and add resumes to these teams, right? Then let's put some consideration at Alabama at number 2. And I do believe that in a week from now, the week from Tuesday, or shall I say in 2 weeks, we will find the college football committee. Should Alabama continue winning, they'll be number 2, guaranteed. All right. If the playoff bracket looks like this, if the end season ending, man, what a matchup could we see here? Okay. With Ohio State, Alabama, Indiana, and Georgia being the top 4. BYU versus Georgia Tech would be awesome. The Aggies versus South Florida might be a bye week. But then Notre Dame versus Miami, that will definitely be a rivalry game. And then Oregon and Texas. Wow, that'll be a shootout. That's what it's looking at right now. But if you look at the top 5 conferences, I do feel like American does deserve to be the 5th, but then Navy's knocking on the door too. And then there is also SMU. You got to watch out for them. And the Big 12 is a pick 'em. But right now, BYU looks like the front runner. And the ACC, Georgia Tech. And the SEC, Alabama. And of course, Ohio State in the Big 10. Let's go ahead and move on to the next. 4th down. And it's time for some picks, baby. Oh, yeah. Whoo! Right now, real quick, I got Vanderbilt beating Missouri. Vanderbilt at home, 6-1. And with all the records even, I got a feeling that Vanderbilt has a home field advantage on this, and they're going to take care of business. Memphis will bounce back for after the loss and make it competitive, but I do feel like they will upset South Florida. Washington will upset Illinois, and I'm a little suspect with Illinois being in the top 25 just because they've given up more points than scoring touchdowns. How about that? I don't even think in my opinion, Illinois does not belong in the top 25. I need Washington Huskies to handle their business and put them out. Ole Miss is going to bounce back after a loss against Georgia, and they're going to destroy Oklahoma. I do believe so. Oklahoma could not score a touchdown. They only had 2 field goals versus Texas. What a shame. What a shame at how they got their first loss. It's going to be back-to-back. Ole Miss will take care of business on the road in Oklahoma. The final 3 games that I have, I do see LSU bounce back and defeat Texas A&M. I just don't see a losing streak for LSU. But, man, I will. Then again, I won't be surprised. Man, maybe, just maybe, if LSU does lose again, Brian Kelly might start packing up. If you see his family around him, you already know it's time to go. Iowa State will bounce back. Upset alert. They will beat BYU. And Arizona State will handle their business and defeat Houston. That is my pick for week 9 of the college football. My final whistle. Oh, yeah. That's it. It's a wrap. And recapping all the biggest upsets of week 8 and analyzing the coaches and the shuffle around Florida and compare the major polls, I'm going to tell you like this. This week is going to be a fantastic one. All right. 7 picks. I'm going 7 for 7, guarantee. And what do you think? You think I'm right? Leave your comments below on YouTube or on Facebook. And I hope you join and listen to the show because I'll be back next week. So be sure to subscribe and leave a review and follow me weekly on 4downs3counts.com or on your favorite podcast platform. I'm Obi-Wan. See you next week as I dig into the next and we get closer to our official college football rankings. Thank you very much. Take care, everyone. God love some football.